But right now, we do want to continue this conversation.
Yes, with Dr. Negin Ghaffari, volunteer commissioner for the city of Calabasas, to talk more about the impact of recent events on Iranian Americans. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we do appreciate you speaking on this because we know you have a personal connection. You still have family in Iran, and you came to the U.S. back in the 1980s. A lot of people don't know this history if they're outside of the Persian community. So can you take us back then to what even led your family to come here?
Of course. So my family left Iran under duress because my father was in the military and he trained in the United States, and he was on a blacklist to be assassinated by the new Islamic Republic government. So my parents paid smugglers to smuggle us out of the country through Afghanistan into Pakistan, eventually into Spain, and then we got political asylum to be here. So my family's been very involved with the resistance movement since I was 8 years old. I started going to protests against the regime in front of the federal building in Westwood since I was 8.5 years old, and so it was really surreal and truly like a dream to be there the last couple of days celebrating the end of the Supreme Leader Khamenei.
Well, I think that's what we wanted to ask you about, because your story is similar to many Persian Americans in this country. Obviously, Los Angeles, the biggest Persian population outside of Iran. I've heard from several friends who are Iranian that this is somewhat of a conflicting time. There is so much joy about the Supreme Leader now not being in charge, but also what's now transpiring, there's a little bit of conflict. Do you feel that way?
I don't feel conflict. I think the overwhelming majority of Iranians don't feel conflicted. The people in Iran have been begging for outside intervention. For 47 years, they have been struggling for liberation. The Islamic Republic, the Islamists that have occupied Iran for 47 years are a brutal regime who have murdered, raped, assaulted, and disappeared people systemically for 47 years. And the people are very clear that they want this regime out. They want the regime change. And there's no compromise. The only thing they want is regime change and basic liberties that will lead to a secular democracy. And they've spoken very clearly that they have chosen the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi as their leader. And Reza Pahlavi is very clear that he doesn't want to be king, that he himself only wants to help the people of Iran as a transitional leader to help in the transition to a referendum to achieve a secular democracy.
And President Trump was just speaking about how they don't have someone to be put in place at this point in time yet, so that will be coming.
Very clearly, Reza Pahlavi is the choice of the people, and he has a 200-page Iran prosperity plan that is very detailed for infrastructure on every level, from security to education to mental health to every level, from energy, and in cooperation with the United States and Israel. The people of Iran, in Iran and in diaspora, are grateful to President Trump, Secretary Rubio, and Benjamin Netanyahu. Regardless of our political leanings in the United States, we are unified in our gratitude and to the West for help and intervention, and also that we are clear that MEK does not represent us, that our representative in this transition is Reza Pahlavi, because he has a clear and sincere desire to help the people of Iran with no personal agenda in the matter.
Well, you heard President Trump say just there a moment ago as he was addressing that we need to have a plan because we don't want to put another leader in place who is just like Khamenei.
There is a very clear plan. Reza Pahlavi has worked for years with a committee of Iranians inside and outside of Iran in developing a very clear plan called the Iran Prosperity Plan. It's 200 pages, very detailed plan of what will happen in this transition.
And are you confident the U.S. will see to it that that plan goes in place?
We hope that the U.S. will see to it that this isn't just about nuclear dismantlement and taking away their other aggressive forces that they have, whether it's rockets or whatever they have, but to also to help liberate the people of Iran who have been begging the whole world for help for decades. And the Iranian people are majority secular, that they feel that the Islamic Republic is an occupying force, that they've occupied the people of Iran and in a brutal way. And honestly, it's not just 47 years, it's 1,400 years of invasion by Islamists in Iran that we have transcended as a community and maintained our culture. But the Iranian people are secular, they're highly educated. I know I spent the years of my life as a progressive person in this country voting democratically and not just speaking, but actually working the causes and being a real ally of, it's puzzling to me how the American left is so silent with everything that's happened and how much we've begged them to speak up for the brutality, speak up for the Iranian people, and then to bring up this school that was hit. This school was hit by the Islamic Republic, by the IRGC. They actually admitted to them. There's video that the rocket goes up and then falls on the school. And also, this is part of their MO. This is what they do. There was a leaked document from the IRGC before the bombing, during the so-called negotiations, that they said they would do this. They said that they would attack schools themselves. They held back the bodies of female and children protesters. They didn't return them to their families, so that they could use them during any kind of intervention to say that that Israel or the United States had attacked.
That's unfortunately, we've run out of time. You're diving into a lot of topics that people may not necessarily know about. We'll try to get into those a little bit later. But we also, we know you have family over in Iran, so we're thinking of you. Thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being a voice for the Iranian people and their strive for liberation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.